It's so much fun. Welcome to Unicorn Adventures, where fun creative professionals take a break from business and play my role-playing game. Today, we have a Christmas-themed episode since we are going to be taking a break for the next 2 weeks to enjoy the holidays. And it is going to be very fun and exciting. We've got 3 players today. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, who they are really in real life, and then we will dive into the episode and see what is in store in the imagination. Rachel, would you like to start? Tell people what you do in real life.
Oh man, we get to reveal our true identities on this show. Okay, no problem. My name is Rachel. I run a branding agency with my business partner and best friend, Neo, who's also playing with us today. And we do brand styling for all sorts of businesses, but businesses and personal brands that are looking to really pop and be bold and flashy and stand out in the online space. This is actually a new pivot. You caught me in transition where we're actually looking to focus on this in the new year. Personal branding was the playground that we played in for the past 2 years, looking to make that adjustment for the new year and focus purely on visuals, but we're still working on brands and just helping them stand out in the online space.
Beautiful. And with such a lovely intro on our side, Neo, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I'd love to. My name's Neo, as Rachel has already beautifully introduced me, and as she has said that, we run a branding agency together that is in the middle of a pivot, but just outside of business, and she's succinctly described what we do so well. A little bit more about myself is that I've actually, the last couple of years, I've been leaning more to my creative side. So learning more to be leaning more into my artistry and what expression feels to me. So I'm super excited for this. I think I'm really nervous, but I think this is a good way for me to really lean into what it feels like to build out an identity and really live it. So I'm super excited.
Oh, we'll definitely do that. There will be plenty of creativity. Absolutely. And Meredith, tell us about you.
Hello, I'm so excited to jump in and dive in and play with all of you this evening. I'm Meredith Grundy. I'm the founder of Grundy Coaching. I really help people find their confidence and their credibility on stage as public speakers. And so I work with a lot of solopreneurs as well as architects and engineers in the tech space. And I love it because I love helping people find ways to humanize their tech talks and simplify their messaging. And I'm delighted to be here.
I love it. And Meredith has just given me the courage to say, no, I'm done with this stupid virtual background. I hate the way it cuts me in and out. I'm going to be me. It's okay. We're all relaxing. We're all human. We have bedrooms. It's not the worst thing in the world. All right. With that lovely thing, the cards have been shuffled. I'm not going to shuffle them anymore. So whatever happens from here on out is what happens from here on out. We are going to dive right on in to our episode, which starts, believe it or not, with Marcy. Meredith, would you like to tell us a little bit about Marcy?
Well, yes. Marcy is very precocious. She loves to eat apples. She is very happy most of the time and is quite the delight, but be careful because sometimes you might just be manipulated into a corner.
Woof. Well,
I know.
Marcy has been doing a little bit of traveling at this point. She's going to a town. It is right around Christmas time, given that this is a Christmas episode. It is right around that Christmas time, and she's actually on her way to deliver a very, very specific apple pie recipe that she has made. Mm-hmm. She's entering the town. It is a beautiful, completely decorated, somewhat northern town. There's definitely a combination of, you have some humans, you have some other races of maybe halflings and gnomes around. It's a very calm town from what she knows, and she is going to make this delivery. She's not 100% sure of who she's delivering it to, but she knows that she was told that it was very, very important that she would deliver it. Marcy, you find yourself right now at the center of town as you've come
Mhm.
to kind of look at all the decorations. It's looking fantastic and beautiful, putting you very much into this holiday spirit of things and festivities. As you are looking around, you don't have a good hold onto your basket, if you would, with the pie, and you see a blur that snatches your pie. It is a pink blur that runs off further down the street. What would you like to do?
I'm going to chase after it. I just think that's the most delightful thing. And if it's anything like my pie, I know it's going to be just as sweet as all things that I can even think of that are sweet, like pie, apple pie, the apple in my eye, sweet apple tart turnovers, apple suckers, everything apple. I'm sure there's other things that I can think of, but I have to go.
All right. As you're chasing, you actually get a little bit better of a view of this individual, and as you're running, the individual turns around and looks at you, and what you see is this character. Rachel, would you like to tell us a little about Irie?
Yes, the Irie is a Khajiit, basically a cat person for those of you who play Skyrim. And Irie is the runt of the litter. She and her siblings were orphaned at a very young age and were left to fend for themselves on the streets. So growing up being the smallest, Irie had to learn to be very quick and use her speed and agility to survive. And she grew up looking like an assassin. She had to look the part to survive and not get picked on by all of the bad guys. But in her heart, she's a really kind and sensitive cat. She is sort of like a vigilante, will stand up for all things that are good, doesn't mind breaking the rules in order to make that happen. And she's always in eternal conflict between the two sides of her, where she's always fighting for survival and she's out for revenge to the evil tyrant king who killed her parents. But she also just wants to lay down her weapons and just live a peaceful life. So there's two sides of her that are always conflicting.
And the reasoning, by the way, of why you snagged that particular thing up is because you wanted to you know that there are a couple of orphans that specifically you wanted to deliver this for, and you figured that this happy-go-lucky individual would not be missing a possible pie in a basket, and that is specifically why you grabbed it. At this point, you have turned around. You see that Marcy's very much chasing you. It is your choice. You can try to continue running. You can try to stop and talk. What do you want to do?
I decide to skirt around the corner and make my way to where the orphans are. I decide to save the confrontation for later because these children are hungry and they need to be fed first. So I decide to zip down, cut around a corner, go down the alley, and then make a quick drop off before I make my exit.
Okay. Marcy, I take it you're pursuing.
Oh, I'm still running after her. I'm just intrigued.
All right. We're going to have, and this is actually a first, and I'm so glad that it is. This is going to be the first card flip of this episode, but it's going to be two cards. The first card is going to be for Irie to see if you're able to stealth and run away fast enough. And the other one is for Marcy to see if you can catch up or not. In this case, the higher card basically wins in what happens. So for Irie, we have, oh my goodness, an ace, which is the highest card. And for Marcy, we have a 9. So as much as Marcy wants to, the lights and everything, they are too bright and beautiful and distracting. And Irie's an assassin. She's really good at this. She obviously has been in the city for a while. She knows the streets way better than Marcy does. She's able to get away perfectly and completely is undetected as she runs off. Marcy, at this point, you're a little bit stranded. You don't have the package. You do know where you're supposed to go to, however. So it's your choice if you want to just try to look around the city a little bit more, or try to go to the address where you're supposed to go and just tell them, yeah, couldn't deliver this.
Well, I'm a big fan of window shopping, and I really just love window shopping, especially during the holidays. So I think I'm going to take a little time to just eat my apple and window shop. And then I also really don't like confrontation very much. So I'm going to just try to resist going to that person's house for as long as I possibly can, because first of all, it's the holidays and I want to be present. And because being present it means something to me, and eat my apples. So, and I just hear that there's a lot of really fantastic sales going on, which doesn't mean I have to necessarily buy anything.
Wonderful. As you're going through all this, is there
Mhm.
anything particular you're looking for? Is there anything that you really are looking to maybe buy? If there is a sale that you would probably like to buy that you're looking for?
Oh, well, I have always loved sequins, and I've never owned a sequins dress, just like a glamoury dress. So I was thinking I would buy one of those if I saw one on sale, but it has to be red and it has to be tight, but not too tight, and no spaghetti straps, because I just don't think that fits me well. I don't want things to fall off.
Fair. As you're walking, you're looking into these windows, you're becoming so absolutely enamored, and you see a red dress. It looks perfect. It looks beautiful. You can imagine how you could either pick apples in this, eat apples when you're wearing this, throw apples while you're wearing this, cut apples. Apples would go well with this dress, any shade or color. And as you become more and more enamored and you're coming to this, you're still walking forward and you bump into a hard shoulder. As you turn and look at said hard shoulder, you see that somebody else was perhaps looking at this red dress. This individual is wearing all red and doesn't look like the type to wear the red dress, but perhaps the dark color of that red has reminded them of their past and where they have come from. And in this case, Neo, would you like to tell us a little bit about your character?
Yeah, my character, his name is Draconix with a K and an X. He is a Daedric prince from the Shadow Realm. His family has ruled the Shadow Realm for generations, and he is actually the next in line for the throne. But because of this pressure of having to show up a certain way and to live up to certain expectations, this has caused Draconix to really want to figure out what freedom feels like, what it's like to live for himself and make decisions for himself that isn't based on the family pressure of having to show up a certain way. And because of that, Draconix has actually left the Shadow Realm, left his family to just figure and go his own way and to explore what the world has to offer.
Fantastic. So you just had a girl that is eating an apple and staring at a dress and obviously not paying attention, just wham, just walk right into your shoulder. What are you doing? The two of you now get to interact, see what happens. And I will clarify of why Draconix has come specifically to this village. You have heard that there's potentially a place here, that there is maybe a manor that you needed to visit, that some sort of shadowy entities are there. You've heard tell of it throughout your family, that there might be some possible artifacts or some kind of magic or something. And while you have distanced yourself from the family, you understand that this is something that you want to revisit if you're looking to take over or maybe take control of your own life as you go forth. But that's your reason for being in this town. And now a seemingly very jovial, rosy-cheeked Marcy has walked into your shoulder. What do you do?
I start a conversation with her, and just to learn more about why what she does, who she is, and why she's looking at this beautiful red dress.
Yeah. Go ahead. You guys get to talk now. Get to talk to each other.
Okay. Marcy, I was like, oh, hello there.
Hi. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you. I was just really looking at this dress, and I didn't see you there, and I apologize. And I mean, you're hard to miss, so I'm really embarrassed.
No worries. I'm curious what brings you to this town.
Oh, well, I was here to deliver a pie. And I've just decided to stay a little while longer because I love window shopping. And then I saw this dress and I thought how fabulous that would look on me. And it's not too tight and not too loose. And it's perfect for apple picking because I can actually lift it up and hold the apples in the skirt itself. And the straps won't fall off because it's a, what is that called? Is that a capped sleeve? A capped sleeve? Is that a capped sleeve? A capped sleeve. Yes, on the dress.
I caps.
Dragonix, you're like what do like dress it? Are you serious? I don't care. I don't. But because you are very perceptive, you're not necessarily a prince of many words. As you're looking over, you're noticing you don't see a pie on this person. This person just said they're here to deliver a pie. They don't have anything, and perhaps you should inquire about that because that seems off.
So I ask about the pie then. Where's the pie Marcy, where's the pie that you say you were delivering?
Well, how long do you have? Well, I was delivering it and then I saw this stout little creature that resembled very much a cat, but it just looked like this glowy, fluffy pink thing for a while, but I chased it because I'm curious. And it took my pie and, and it disappeared because I think it had better things to do. So I just made the best out of it. And here I am. And now here you are. And I have to say, you are very intimidating, but I'm really appreciating this conversation, and I'm wondering why you're here.
With the idea of the pink furry creature, that really rings a bell for you, Draconix. You are aware and have crossed paths with potentially some kind of a furry creature. I will say you definitely know who Irie is because you've crossed paths in those kind of worlds of running away from something and trying to make a life of your own. You don't know if that's who Marcy is referencing, but there is potential for that.
But I personally know Irie.
You do. You do know Irie. Not very, very well, but you've definitely crossed paths. And there are not very many pink furry creatures in general. That's not a very common color for furry creatures.
So I inquire more in like a pink furry creature. Is she? And what do you know? I guess. I guess I tell Marcy that I might have crossed paths with a pink furry creature, and I ask her which direction did she run off into?
Oh, I can tell you that. She went that way. North.
I'm going to pull a card to see if Marcy is able, because Marcy has been window shopping. We'll see if she was actually able to maintain where in the world she came from, because she might be completely clueless of where in this town she is. With a 3, Marcy is pointing in like a very, like she's pointing in that direction. And she's like, no, it was over there. Actually, it was there. No, it's definitely, she's basically pointing into all the directions and telling you that's where they are. You, however, know that a place that Irie tends to visit. There is kind of a small tavern that is a little further away, that is a little bit cozier, and you know that she is frequently found there, especially for any contracts or any other things that she might have. So you can absolutely take Marcy there if you wish.
Yeah, let's go to that tavern. So I take Marcy to that tavern then.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right. The two of you are making your way to the tavern, and Irie, you gave the pie to the orphans. You had the intention of giving the pie to the orphans. They're gone when you came to. You know that potentially maybe they are outside a tavern, because they tend to be outside a tavern sometimes just to be asking for people coming by, especially when people have a couple of drinks. They can be a little bit more jovial and a little more giving. So you know that there's a tavern that you love, and the tavern keeper is usually a very kind soul. So you know that you should probably take the pie somewhere there. As you're making your way to the tavern, you're walking the back streets. You're not, you don't love being out in the open. You notice two individuals, both of whom you now strangely know, walking seemingly towards that tavern. They are not aware of you at this point because you are still hiding, and especially with that ace that you pulled, being able to hide so well. What would you like to do? You know Draconix relatively well, not very well, but relatively well, and you recognize, because who wouldn't recognize such a cheery person as Marcy? It is your choice if you want to approach them or just see what they do next.
I think I'm gonna play it safe, and I'm gonna hang back and watch. So I climb up to the roof. There's a little opening at the top where they let the smoke out. And I peer through the top and I watch and see what happens, because I don't want to approach. I know these people, but I don't know if they're here, if it's bad business, if I'm in trouble, because I know I took somebody's pie. I know my intentions for it, but I don't know if she's upset with me. And she suddenly made this friend with someone that I know who could potentially cause a lot of trouble for me if I'm not on his good side. So I'm perched up on the roof, I'm peering through, and I'm watching to see what unfolds.
All right. I am going to make a climbing check for you because it is winter and it is slippery. Even though you are an assassin, you still may not be able to climb relatively well. With an 8, I will say that for you, it's not too terribly difficult, maybe a little bit slipperier, but you're able to get up there. And so you're looking into the tavern. The two of them have not yet entered the tavern, but you're trying to peek into the tavern. Is that right? Okay, so you'll be waiting right now for them to kind of to go in. All right, the two of you are approaching that tavern. I'm taking it. You go in because you're trying to find Irie. Fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You walk in, and as you walk in, there's just kind of your normal bustling. It is getting a little closer to the end of the day. It's not quite yet dark, but it's starting. The sun's starting to set. There's a little bit of bustling there. You just see kind of a tavern keeper, sort of a barkeep, who's just trying to serve people and everything. Nobody is responding to you necessarily, looking at you. Seemingly everybody busy with their holiday activities. Draconix, even though you're pleased that nobody's looking at you, you find it odd because you definitely stand out with your kind of a visage in this kind of a more of a calm town. What would you like to do?
So walk around. I walk around to the, I guess, shopkeeper. Ask if he or she has seen a pink fuzzy cat-like creature that was hanging out earlier in this town.
Oh, you mean Irie? Yes. She comes here often. Are you a friend?
Yeah, I actually know her quite well, and I'm actually looking to find her to inquire about something.
By the way, Irie, you're hearing all of this at this point as you're watching in, and you know that he's looking for you. Are you still just going to be watching and see what happens, or do you want to come down and engage? What are you doing?
I want to quickly clarify the past and the relationship that I have with Draconix. Is it positive or negative?
It's positive in the sense that you both kind of had to rely on yourselves and push away any sort of aid. So you had a couple of dealings where you've had, I wouldn't call them heists, but a couple of exchanges of where you had to find your own paths. So maybe whether it be to survive in a different village, or even here a couple of times. So it's been positive. You know that he cares about himself mostly, but is willing to help other people.
Okay. In that case, I'll let my curiosity get the better of me. At the end of the day, even though I am a skilled assassin, I do keep my friends close. And I wanted to be careful just to make sure he wasn't in a bad mood when I approached him. So I peer in through the hole in the roof and I decide to jump down and land right behind them quietly. They don't hear me drop down, but I land right behind them. And I
Well,
tap them
that's
on the shoulder.
quite an acrobatic feat. So we're gonna have to pull a card to see if you're actually able to do that. With a 7, I will say that you're able to not hit anything when you do your jump, but there's a definite thud, and partially because of the pie basket that you're not used to having something like this on you. It swings and it kind of hits Marcy in the low of her back as you land. So they definitely know you're there, but you got down. Oh, Irie, he was just were you listening? The shopkeep is saying to you.
Hi, I just happened to drop in on this conversation. And I see and you guys, I hear that you've been looking for me.
You have
What's up?
something that belongs to me.
Oh, you mean this basket
Mhm.
right here?
I mean that basket right there. And it
Oh.
so I mean you
Ooh,
can
this
just hand
is-
it over and then we can just move on and maybe order some apple schnapps and hang out. Yeah?
Oh, this is a little awkward. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take your basket. I actually wanted to I have some friends that I'm looking to take care of. There's some orphans that I'm really good friends with and their parents aren't around and they were really hungry. So I smelled your pie from a mile away and thought that they would really appreciate something like that at this time of year. And
That's a
I'm
good
sorry that
story.
I took it though.
Good story.
I'm sorry that I took it though.
Yeah.
I just
everyone
really
has an
want to make
orphan
sure
to
that my
feed.
friends get
No,
fed.
it's good. It's good. It's
Absolutely.
good. Everyone's yeah, that's a good story though. It's a really good story.
Thank you. Well, yeah, the orphans that I wanted to give the pie to, they don't seem to be around right now. So, I'd be happy to return this to you. And I apologize if this inconvenienced the plans that you've had with this pie.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
I'm having a little battle with my shadow side right now. Like I feel like I want to punch her in the face. And then I feel like I just want to take the pie and give her a hug and say thanks. Or just like maybe believe her orphan story and then not make it about me. But there's a lot going on in my brain right now. There's like a lot of different narratives.
Would you like to make an insight check, which basically means that you want to see if she's telling the truth or not?
Yeah, I do.
All right, so we'll pull a card. Depending on it, we will see what we see. Okay, you got a king. She seems to be telling the complete truth,
Okay.
and you're
You
pretty
think-
certain of it.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can just keep the pie.
I will remind you that the pie is a delivery. You do have some other healing pie in your satchel. You also have a lot of apples. You can, of course, give away the delivery pie, but you have other food on you. Also, you're in a tavern where you can buy more food.
You can keep the pie. I'll be fine. I'll be absolutely fine. Just don't forget this moment. 'Tis the season for giving.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that. These orphans, it means a lot to them. They don't have a lot, and I just want to make sure that they have enough for this holiday season. So thank you.
You're welcome.
On that, Draconix, you still know that you need to go to a specific manor. But I take it all three of you would probably be leaving the tavern. You've got nothing else to do here, but it's your choice.
Well, after witnessing, I guess, the conversation that has happened between Irie and Marcy, and how they've become friends, I asked if they wanted to join me to go to this manor that that drawn me to this town to look for the artifact I was looking for. So Irie, I didn't realize that I was gonna find you here, but after hearing Marcy describe you, I realized that from the brief moments that we've shared in the past, that it would be interesting to see if you would like to join along with this adventure and with me.
Heck yes, of course I'd love to join on an adventure with you. Let's go beat up some bad guys together.
Marcy, you're there listening to this. You're, of course, welcome to either go on the adventure or say, no. Maybe you would like to visit the address that you're supposed to deliver to, or whatever else you'd like to do.
Well, I'm really curious about this adventure, so I'm just wondering if it's possible to do both. I mean, can we just stop by and deliver the pie and then be done with that and then go on the adventure together? Or is that going to compromise things? I mean, because I'm a yes and girl.
Draconix, you know there's no like rush where that you have to get to this manor or something. You just know it exists. It's been there for a long time. It's not as if it's going to start anytime soon, like disappear or anything.
Yeah, let's do the delivery. I'm curious to just see what you do and learn more why you love delivering pies.
All right.
Excellent.
The three of you make your way out. Irie is very helpful to Marcy because she knows the city so much better and is able to pinpoint exactly where they need to go. As you walk up to it, you see this gorgeous manor full of lights, possibly even people moving in there. As you're looking around, Draconix, you realize this is exactly the place that you were looking for as well. You're standing there because it's a little bit harder, as you can tell, to know exactly which place to go in. There's a little bit of a fence outside. You notice a blur, a green blur. And in this case, the pie is being held by Irie. So what I'm going to make is I'm going to see how well Irie can hold on to the pie basket against the green blur. And the two cards. So for Irie, her holding on is a 6. And it is an ace for the other creature. The basket vanishes.
No!
Now, Marcy, you are now experienced with various colored blurs. And this green blur really looked a lot like the pink blur, but different colors, strangely enough. And you see as this creature grabs a basket and runs into the house. And the door is shut. What would you like to do?
Well, I like to pursue. I have to say that I am going to knock on that door, and if I don't get in, then I am going to find another way to get into that building.
You come up the steps, and as you reach to knock, it feels odd. It feels as if your hand almost goes through the door a couple inches until you hit the actual wood. But you knock, and there is no answer.
It's almost like nobody was there. And so I just kept knocking and knocking. And then what I did was I decided to go around to the side just to make sure that I was right, that no one was there. But when I looked on the side of the house through the window, I swear I saw a green type light go up the stairway. So I knew that someone or something was inside that building. And so I kept walking. Yeah.
So this is back to, I'll tell, as you look in, you can look in, but I'll tell you what you see. So actually, as you're walking around, you're seeing what you're seeing on the screen now to a large degree. You're seeing this warm light. You're seeing maybe silhouettes of people, something moving. You're hearing some sounds, But yeah, but anytime that you try to reach out and touch any part of the building, it's almost as if your hand goes through a couple of inches to where you think you should be touching the building, and then it touches something. It touches a solid state of it.
Well, it's really uncomfortable. I really just don't know what to do with all of that information. So I actually asked Rachel for some help, and I asked Draconix for some help.
Draconix, you know this is the place where you need to be. You can attempt to enter or do whatever. You know that you need to go inside.
But I don't have a lot of knowledge of this place, right? I don't know. I have the same amount of understanding as Marcy does.
I will say what we're going to do, and from you seeing, you're observing Marcy, this idea of her hand passing ever so slightly through, and your knowledge of the shadows and the shadow realm, should be a little easier for you. With a 4, you can tell that it's something magical, but that's literally about all that you can tell after pulling a 4. You know there's something going on here, but not exactly what it is.
Right. So I continue to investigate. I walk around the building to see if there are any other ways or any other entryways to the building.
Doesn't seem like it, but you definitely notice that Marcy knocked on the door. She never tried opening the door.
Okay. So I tried to turn the handle and try to force my way through or open the door.
Yeah. The door swings open and you're almost sucked in, and the door shuts behind you. The two of you, Marcy and Irie, you see this as he goes in. We'll get to what Draconix sees next. What do the two of you do?
So we're locked out on the other side of the door.
You are, but you also, neither one of you attempted to open the door, so you can try to just open the door.
Oh,
Okay. Marcy, do you want to go in? Do we want to go after him?
Yeah, I'll try opening the door. That's a really good idea, Irie. I hadn't thought of that before. I was just so taken back. I try to open the door and it doesn't do anything. And so, Irie, I think you should try, because I'm pretty convinced you're stronger than I am.
So as you try,
Okay.
you try to actually, when you try to open the door open, unless you're actually trying to not open the door, or are you actually physically trying to open it?
I'm a little bit scared, so I guess it's a little bit of both. Yes, I just want Irie to do it because I don't want to be the first one in, honestly.
Okay, so you're fake. You tried, but you kind of faked it a little bit so that Irie would open the door.
Yeah.
Irie, do you try to open the door for her?
Yeah, I'm trying to get in, and I'm assuming that there's sort of like a mirage on the outside. So whatever I feel, I can't really see. Like if there's a doorknob or a handle, like I can't really see. But I'm feeling around, and I find something that feels like a handle, and I try it. And does it open for me, or are we locked out?
It opens perfectly like any other door, and then Marcy's right there with you, and she's so very curious as the door opens. She peeks in, and both of you feel that you're sucked in, and you are now, and the door shuts right behind you, and the three of you are now standing inside. What you see is not at all the beautiful, warm house that you saw. It is dark. It feels a whole lot colder, not the warm, inviting nature that you saw from the outside. The three of you are just standing there in darkness. There's no lights. There's no candles up. You're not really seeing a whole lot of anything. It seems quiet. It feels abandoned, as if it hasn't been here for a while. Draconix, you've been here for a little longer than they have. As you've been looking around, you feel that there might be some sort of a shadow-based magic something here, and that what is on the outside is just an illusion to make it seem like this is an occupied house. What would you like to do? by the way, as you're standing here, you basically have
walk on the-
2 rooms to the sides or a hallway in front of you. It's your choice where you'd like to go.
I walk towards the room to the right first, and I try opening the door to that room.
Okay. Door is actually almost slightly ajar, like it's just not even fully closed. As it swings open, you just see kind of an abandoned kitchen. Doesn't seem like it's been used in years.
Okay. I take a quick look at the abandoned kitchen, turn around, and check the other room. As I'm
Okay.
just scouting through the house to see what there is.
Yeah, the other room just seems to be a completely abandoned, empty room. Kind of the way if you ever go to look at houses when they have literally no furniture and nothing in there, like it's completely abandoned. It's clean, maybe a little dusty with no lights, but it's completely clean. There's a further door that is half ajar on the other side, and it looks like it opens into possibly you're seeing a part of a dining table further in there, maybe a giant dining room. It kind of alludes to what you saw when you looked around, when you went around the house and you kind of saw from the outside in. It looks like that, but not full of people, not full of warmth and life, but completely abandoned and dusty. And you're hearing some kind of a sound coming from that room.
I
Can't
walk
tell
into
what it
that
is
room.
unless you get closer.
For-
You want to go to the other room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go to the other room, get closer.
Are you doing so stealthily, or are you just walking up to it on the creaky floor?
I'm walking towards it stealthily, just crouched, trying to make my way through, just being careful, but moving forward nonetheless.
All right. We're going to pull a card to see how good you are at your stealth. So with a 3, as you're walking, you're thinking that you're going to be stealthy. And you get closer to the door, and what you hear is, "Surely, Phoebe, you mustn't be thinking that is good." And there's a creak as you step onto a board, and the voice interrupts immediately. Did anybody else hear that? Paxton, what do you smell? That is at this point what you hear. Is there anything else you would like to do?
I will shapeshift into a cat as I hear the voices, and I realized that I've blown my cover.
Okay. You shapeshift into a cat, and given that your senses are now that much more elevated as a cat, you are a little more terrified because of what you are smelling, because you are smelling a predator of some sort that you can't tell. You don't spend a lot of time as a cat, but that is what you're smelling. You're still you still have the intelligence that you would have, and what you hear is,
Right.
I smell a snack. You're hearing that a possible chair has been moved and possible footsteps going towards you. What would you like to do? By the way, also, Irie, Marcy, you just watched Draconix walk over to a door. You're not hearing any of this. Crouch down and then turn into a cat. So you've no idea what's going on. It's up to you what the two of you would also like to be doing at this very moment.
Ooh, well, knowing Draconix, he does not shapeshift unless he's responding to something that's happening in his environment. And the fact that he shapeshifted into a cat shows me that there's potentially danger. I've seen him do this before when he's trying to get out of situations. Draconix is very clever in that. And the moment that I saw that he changed into a cat, I knew something was wrong. So I quickly are me and Marcy standing beside each other when this happens?
You guys got sucked into the doorway together. You're just still standing looking around. Draconix just since he got in first, he got a little bit of a head start.
Okay. Because I noticed that Draconix turned into a cat, I quickly whisper to Marcy and say, I think there's trouble, we should hide. And we quickly look for a hiding spot just to be on the safe side.
Okay, there's a hallway straight ahead of you. There is what seems to be a kitchen to the right, potentially, as you're seeing through the open door. It's kind of your choice. You can probably the room that Draconix is in, not a good room to hide. It is empty of any hiding spaces. It's just an open room. But you can go down the hallway. You can go into the kitchen. What would you like to do?
Well, I think personally we should go to the kitchen, because I feel that there are many hiding places in the kitchen. And I also have something up my sleeve just in case we need it. It involves apples.
All right, let's go to the kitchen. Let's do
All
it.
right, so
Let's go to the kitchen.
we're going into the kitchen. So we need a whole like apple themed holiday just for Marcy. With just everything is apple themed. It's fantastic. The two of you go into the kitchen. I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for the both of you to see how well the two of you are able to hide. With a 6, the kitchen is relatively abandoned and somewhat crammed and piled with a bunch of stuff. You're able to hide behind some piles. Marcy, you're a little bit smaller, so you can hide behind some pots and like a pile of pots and pans. And then Irie, you're able to kind of sneakily get, because we all know that cats are liquid, and since you're a Khajiit part cat, you can kind of fit into this kind of pantry closet area a little bit more. It's very crammed. You're not able to close the door all the way, but you're a little bit more hidden at this point. Which brings us back to Draconix. You're hearing these footsteps as they're approaching you with these heavy, heavy falls. And as they're getting closer and closer to the door, all of a sudden you hear, "Oh, Paxton, get away from there." There's a stop, and you hear a snort.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to do? It seems that the footsteps aren't approaching anymore.
Because with my, I guess, as a cat, I have better night vision. Do I see like what's happening in the room, or is it just like, it's just audible to me?
It's audible to you. You have decent night vision. Honestly, as like a demon prince of shadows, you've got pretty fantastic night vision. So
Yeah.
this may be arguably worse than what you normally have, but you're definitely smaller, so there's a good reason to turn into a cat. So yeah, I mean, from what you're seeing, the angle though, you're able to see. You're seeing the end of a table of a dining room. That there's maybe some kind of chandeliers that are hanging up there. They're not lit. It's all relatively dark. And it seems that there is maybe a little bit of beginnings of moonlight that is kind of streaking in. So it's not as if it's not lit. There's just no artificial light of any candles or anything like that. That you can see from this angle. You can't really tell because whatever that other creature is on the other side. You can't tell what it is from this because it's blocked by the door. But from your smelling of it, it smells like danger.
Okay. So as I hear that, I figured I realized that, or I think to myself that it's probably better to recoup and regroup. So I slowly back out of the room towards the door and see if I can exit the room without being noticed yet.
As you're kind of turning and starting to walk like cats do, where they kind of inch a little paw out to test it and to kind of, you're doing one of those little walks. You just hear fine. And you hear footsteps away from you, and you're able to walk in. You walk back into the kind of that main foyer as you walked in. Marcy and Irie are gone. They're not in there anymore. And from what Marcy and Irie, you two are kind of going, well, you're hiding. You have no idea what's going on at this point as you've hid. So what would any of you like to do?
as a cat, do I sense Irie though? Since she's a Khajiit, do we have like this like I don't know sixth sense of like other cats in the area, or is that?
I will pull a card to see if you do, because at this point, the olfactory side of it, you're really smelling that other beast, if you would, that was near the door. That is far more overwhelming at this point. But with a jack, yeah, you can definitely pick up the trail of a fellow cat creature that goes into the kitchen.
Okay, so I follow into the kitchen. Just to communicate with the rest of the group or try of what's going on out on, I guess, the other room on the left side.
Yeah.
So
the way that the pantry, the way the pantry doors, you walk right into, you walk through the whole thing, you walk into the kitchen. The way the pantry door is closed, Irie, you cannot see the cat because the way the door is closed, you don't have line of vision for the door. But Marcy, you see a cat that has walked in. You paid attention enough to know that Draconix turned into a cat, but was this the right cat? Is it the same cat? You're not quite sure. It might be, but you're not sure. What would you like to do?
Well, I think that I need to approach the cat and remembering what happened earlier in the evening with the sequenced red dress, I could ask the cat if something about that dress to see if it is indeed Draconix.
Absolutely, Draconix. It's up to you. You can just shapeshift back into demon prince form if you'd like to. At this point, there's nothing stopping you, but you can play this out however you like.
I'd shapeshift. Okay. I'd shapeshift back then. I'll shapeshift back.
And Marcy, you kind of have this yelp. You're very much not used to cats just turning into just out of nowhere.
There's a lot of cats, and I'm allergic, which is very problematic.
But yes, okay, Draconix, you're now there. Irie, you just heard Marcy yelp. You didn't see what happened, but you just heard her yelp. What would you like to do?
Gotta go save my friend. She might be in trouble. So I bust my way out of the cupboard, probably knock over a few pans in the process. And I mean, I'm still an assassin, so I'm not going to yell like, Marcy, I'm going to save you. But inside, that's the dialogue I have in my head. And I land outside the cupboard. I'm prepared to fight whatever there is. And then I see my two friends standing in front of me. And then I let my guard down.
Okay. Draconix, what would you like to talk about? You've now caused this extra kerfuffle as a result of it all. You can tell them about what you heard in the other room or whatever else you'd like to say.
Yeah, so I first peer out of the door just to make sure that all the kerfuffle that we've caused didn't alert the entities in the other room. And
seemingly no.
Proceed to explain to both Irie and Marcy that there seems to be two mysterious shadow magical entities that are present in the larger room, and that I sense that it is a huge danger to all of us.
And to be clear, that you sense that one of them was very much a danger to you in cat form. And you heard three different voices.
Yes, I heard three different voices. Not quite sure what they are. The energy kind of feels like what I've experienced when I used to live in the Shadow Realm. But I can't quite put my finger on what their intentions are, why they're here. And I just know that it is probably tied to the artifact I'm looking for. But since I don't have a lot of knowledge about it, I also don't know much beyond that.
What would y'all like to do?
Marcy, I'm gonna have to ask. You were supposed to deliver a pie to this place too. Do you have any information about the delivery? Who ordered it by any chance?
Well, that was a really great question. So I received a telegram in the mail, and it was a very special looking telegram because it had a wax type stamp on it with the initials NB. And I thought, that's curious. And it just said in the telegram, order and deliver an apple pie at this date, at this time. So I missed the time, at this house. And so I just thought, why not? I mean, I had nothing else really better to do. And I was really excited that somebody wanted my pie.
That is all at this point that you know. Whether or not those are legitimate, no clue. But you are aware now that there are 3 entities that are in the house, in that room.
So
Do we want to go investigate?
I think we need to investigate. I don't think we have any other choice. What do you think?
I think we should scout the rest of the house to see what at the end of the hallway, is there another floor to this house, just to get a good understanding of like the whole place before we figure out a point of, I wouldn't say attack, but just to approach and figure out what the mystery is.
Fantastic.
What would both of you think?
What would you like to do? Those are kind of your 2 choices. You want to explore more of the house? You can split up. You can go and investigate further of who's in that other room.
Ooh. Do you guys want to stick together? I know we all have different abilities. We might have a better chance of covering ground faster by going our separate ways. But it depends how confident you guys feel in doing that.
I'm thinking we can all go separately or together.
Together?
Okay, let's all go down the hallway and we can make our way through, and then we can discuss an action plan after that.
All right.
What do you both think?
You make your way out of that was awesome.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
You make your way out of the kitchen and down the hallway, and as you're walking down the hallway, what you're seeing is that it opens up to a little bit more of an open area with a staircase, and it's the kind of staircase that goes up and then divides into 2. And as you're walking, all 3 of you hear a creak, a loud creak and a door opening. And Draconix, to you, shamefully, it is a very memorable creak that you you have heard very recently as well. What would you like to do?
I turn to both Marcy and Rachel and ask and tell them that we should definitely move forward stealthily, and maybe that moving together wouldn't be the best way, since if we all get caught, then we're all kind of screwed. So we discussed if we should actually go separate ways and try to, if we did went separately, then we could actually move around more stealthily.
Okay. Would you like to split up? How are you splitting up? Is everybody kind of going in 3 different directions? Is somebody pairing up and the other person going solo? What would you like to do?
I think that there's two of us that have really good sneaking abilities. Draconix, you can shapeshift, so I think you're good to handle yourself. Marcy, do we want to go together and see if we can figure out, so then that way we can cover each other in case anything goes down?
Yes, please. I think that would be wonderful.
All right. As you walk into the second kind of opening to the staircase, you have the staircase in front of you that goes up and splits into two different staircases, and you notice that to your left, there's another door. What would you like to do?
I think we should go to the door.
Okay. Would you like to go and open the door?
I would love to open the door. So,
Are you doing it sneakily, or are you doing it Marcy style?
I'm doing it Marcy's style. I'm just gonna walk up to it and open it. Hopefully, I'll have more success than the last door, and I'm feeling a little bit more brave because Irie and I have bonded more. So I open the door, and I'm successful.
So you open the door. You are successful. It is just a door. There's no lock. There's no magical anything on it. You open the door, and what you realize, and Draconix, as you're looking over Marcy's shoulder, what you also realize is this is the other end of the dining room. And Marcy, you walk right into this. In front of you are three figures sitting at a table. You see what you have read to be, but Marcy, you have never seen, is a werewolf, a ghost, and a very, very pale female. Only actually, no. Draconix would know this. Irie, I don't think you would know this. Draconix, you know that is a vampire. So you see in front of you a werewolf, a ghost, and a vampire. They are a little bit surprised, but not entirely. As they've known that somebody was here, and they look at you, Marcy. It's kind of your show at this point. What do you want to say to them? How do you want to greet this? This is a little bit of a terrifying sight for Marcy, but she's so positive and sweet. She may have a different spin on it.
Well, first of all, I have to say that vampire is beautiful. So the first thing I do is compliment her. And then the other two just look at me like I'm insane. And so I'm a little bit fearful of them. But I remember that in my bag, I have another pie and I have a whole bag of apples. And so I realize they're eating, and I don't ever want to be that house guest that comes empty-handed. So I offer them all an apple and ask if I can have a seat. And they said yes.
So as you're offering this to them, you're offering them all of this. You see that they look utterly disinterested, and you think about what you have possibly heard of the kind of diet that werewolves and vampires have. You realize that what you're offering not only has no meat, that it's either a fruit or it is utterly baked, and that it is potentially of no interest to them, not to mention a ghost who wouldn't be able to actually eat what you're giving to them. As you're offering this, you see the ghost looking over towards the werewolf and saying, "Oh, was this the snack that you were referring to, Paxton?" The werewolf growls at you.
Yes, and it was a very tense moment, and that was the moment when I took my pie out of the bag and quickly threw the pie in the werewolf's face and ran in the other direction as fast as I possibly could.
All right, let's see how successful you are with throwing the pie and landing it into the werewolf's face. With a 5, you most definitely attempted to throw the pie, and in your mind, you hit it, you nailed it. But you were so afraid as you were turning around to run that you just kind of threw it. It flew completely past as you were running out of the room, the other two of you notice as all three of them stand up and start walking towards the door, towards you. And the ghosts mostly floats through as they're all walking. As they are walking, you hear the vampire going, "Oh, this is going to be fun!"
Can we run? Can we run away?
I'm already running.
You can certainly try.
All right.
Where would you like to run?
I'm gonna hightail it. Back down the stairs towards where I think the entrance.
You haven't gone up the
is.
stairs yet. You're still downstairs.
Okay.
You walked into the other side of the dining room. You're at this point in that second kind of opening place that has the door to the dining room that Marcy just came back out of. And so you can either go back down the hallway to the actual door to exit or up the stairs.
Ooh. I'm gonna try for the door where I want to make an exit as fast as possible. My cat senses are
you're going
tingling, and I
down-
don't want to be someone's snack.
Gotcha. So you're going down the hallway towards that door.
I'm going down the hallway. Yeah.
Okay. What are the other two of you doing? Which direction are you going? If you're going in any direction, I don't know. Draconix might end up fighting these guys. I don't know.
Have they noticed the other, like, have they noticed, like, have they noticed Marcy? Did they notice me or Irie at this point?
Yeah, the two of you weren't necessarily hiding as Marcy was opening that door. So yeah, they're walking towards you. They're aware of all three of you at this point. And Draconix, you know you're not necessarily, you as a demon prince are not as terrified of a werewolf as you are when you were a cat. These creatures, while potentially powerful, it's not as if they're not something you haven't faced before. The other two, you understand their fear with these kinds of creatures, but yeah.
I guess for me, I stand there as Irie and Marcy are both running. As they approach me, I have a conversation with them, since it's something that is they are quite prevalent in the shadow realm. It's not like I haven't seen any of these beasts and beings before. So calmly, I just stand there and wait as they approach me.
Okay, what would you like to say to them?
I ask them, what are they doing here? Do they know the significance of this matter? And what is the significance of this place to them?
The ghost, who's in the middle of the three of them, as they're making their way through and they're standing, goes, "I do recognize him. Are you a prince of the Shadow Realm?"
Yes, I am. I'm actually supposedly supposed to be the next in line to the throne of the Shadow.
The werewolf looks at you and goes, "Huh, a pup being the leader of the Shadow Realm. You smell like the snack I thought you were earlier. I don't think you're much more than that." He's going to reach out to try to grab you. Are you going to resist?
Yes, I will resist.
Okay. So I'm going to pull two cards. The first one is for him grabbing you, and the second one is for your ability to resist. He pulled a 7. You pulled an ace. And to be fair, ace is the highest card that you can pull. So not only is he not able to grab you, you make that the tiniest little move, the tiniest little sidestep that is with such grace and ease that forces him to overreach and causes him to stumble and kind of like hit his head on the other side of the wall. Not to the point where it necessarily hurt him, but he very much thought he was going to lean in and grab you and pin you against a wall. But you just very gracefully in your regal, shadowy way evaded that perfectly. You're hearing like the vampire. She's giggling as she's watching the werewolf stumble and fall. What would you like to do next?
Can I grab the werewolf?
Yeah.
And
I mean, with an ace, you absolutely you grab him. Go ahead.
I grab the werewolf. Is there in this world, is there a specific way a werewolf can only be killed, or like, can I just, I guess?
So you know that your specific dagger, because you have a dagger for the Shadow Realm, that is a magical weapon. So in general, it's usually just magical weapons can do relatively good. Other than that, silver, all your usual kind of stuff. Similar thing for the vampire as well. The ghost is a little bit trickier because it's specific magical weapons, and normal weapons can do nothing to a ghost. You of course know all of this because this is very common knowledge for somebody in your position.
Okay. So
Marcy and Irie, I don't know if you would know this.
Okay. Yeah, I grab the werewolf. I slam him against one of the walls, put the dagger to, I guess, his throat, and ask him to. I ask who he thinks he is, and I reiterate my question of like, what are they doing here?
He growls at you, and then he stares at the ghost. And the ghost looks at you and goes, "Oh, Your Majesty, you truly do know how to put on a display. We are mere guardians here at the manor. We are not the true occupants of it. Those are upstairs. I think one of them interacted with you earlier. But you do need this to pass further." He lifts up his hand, and this is the moment you notice. And actually, Marcy, you and Irie, as you are looking back at this, because you're going, wait a minute, what is he doing? What is happening? You notice that all three of these individuals have rings on their fingers, which is especially interesting with the ghost, because it is not a ghostly representation of a ring as a ghost might have if they have perished with a ring on, but it is actually a physical object of a ring that is attached to this ghostly form. And so the ghost has lifted up his hand and he's showing you the ring that he has on his finger. As you see this, by the way, Marcy, you and Irie, what would you like to do?
Well, they don't seem like they're going to eat us. For starters, we don't seem to be in danger. So, Marcy, do you think it's safe for us to regroup with Draconix and get to the bottom of this mystery? All right. So I guess
I think so.
we decide that it's safe. Awesome. So I guess we decide that it's safe,
Yes.
and we'd like to make our way back to where Draconix is and see if we can get to the bottom of this mystery together. So we decide to regroup.
Okay. As you're walking back up the hallway, the vampire, her eyes get really big as she looks at you, and especially when she sees Marcy again. And Marcy, you have that very uncomfortable feeling of somebody staring directly at your neck. They're not making eye contact. They're looking at you, and they're not even looking at you as a human being. And the vampire lunges at Marcy. I will, because it's a little bit of a ways away as you're going, I will let any of you have any kind of reaction that you want to that action. What would you like to do?
Because I'm still holding the werewolf at this point in time, right?
You're holding the werewolf. You've got the dagger to his throat at this point. Yeah, you can either say something, yell something out. You can harm the werewolf. Marcy, you can maybe throw an apple or duck or do whatever you would like to do. Yeah.
I would like
I just
to get the heck away, and I can feel the vampire's fangs on my neck as I roll away.
So let's see if you do roll away, because that will then have to be you versus the vampire as we pull 2 cards to see if you're able to roll away. So the first one will be, since you're doing the reaction, I'll say the first card is going to be for you to see if you're able to duck, and the second one will be for the vampire if she is able to adjust and actually catch you. So you got a 5 and she got a 7. So as you're rolling, she's not able to quite
I have
sink her
thrown all
fangs
of my
in.
apples. In fact, I've thrown every single one of them, and I have none left.
Well, and at this point, she's holding you. She's not sunken her fangs into your throat or anything. She's just holding you. And because you tried to roll, she kind of has you pinned to the ground. She's not yet about to bite. She probably is going to in this next couple of seconds. Irie, what would you like to do? This vampire is very obviously about to probably kill your new friend.
I'm gonna go save her. I'm jumping in, and I'm in cat-like fashion. I decide to jump onto the vampire. I skirt around the vampire, and I try to jump onto the vampire's back. And I have this little dagger that I use for close combat, and I'm trying to pry the vampire off of Marcy.
Okay. You jump on. Let's see. We'll do a card because she's occupied. So with a 4, you try to jump on. You jump on, and then you
So I
kind
got
of
away.
overcorrect because she's kind of
Did I?
crouched. So yeah, you throw her a little bit off, but you're not able to stay on top of the vampire and stab her over. You kind of jump on, and then both of you almost kind of roll off. And it is you're in the hallway right now, so it's of a small space, and you're all just kind of clamoring, rolling over in the hallway. It's a very awkward scene. Draconis, what would you like to do at this point? You're just seeing this strange little wrestling match that is happening in the hallway. What would you like to do? It seems that the ghost is still staring at you, not blinking, not looking away, still the hand up with the ring staring at you.
At this point in time, since I see that all the chaos and pandemonium that has transpired, since the werewolf just doesn't give me good vibes, I slit the throat of the werewolf. But instead of helping Irie and Marcy, I take this opportunity to shapeshift into a bat and fly down the hallway to see what's at the end of the hall.
So even though I'm going to make this really low in terms of the card that you have to pull, I will say that if you pull like a 6 or above, because you were right there with the werewolf, you will absolutely be able to slit the throat. But let's see what the card says if you're actually successful or not. That is a 2, which is the lowest card. So you became distracted and you kind of pulled back because you were watching all the whatever was happening in the hallway. So when you try to pull the dagger's nowhere near the werewolf, and the werewolf is able to kind of move off to the side. And then you turn into a bat. And what would you like to do after you turn into a bat?
I fly down to the end of the hallway and take advantage of the chaos that has transpired and leave them to fend for themselves as I figure out what's at the end of the hallway.
So at this point, right now, you're at the stairwell end of the hallway. The other end of the hallway is just where you came in the front door. That's the hallway. So you want to go
stairwell.
up? Okay.
Yeah, I go up. That's what
Go up the stairwell. You can either go to the right. The stairwell splits at the top. You can either go to the right or to the left. Which way do you want to go?
To the left.
Okay. You fly up to the left, and don't worry, Irie and Marcy, we will get right back to you. I know we left you in a very tense situation with a vampire. Yep, hallway with a vampire. That's pretty terrifying. At the top of the left side, you see 2 doors. One has a cat scratched, like kind of on it, like cat scratches on it, and the other one has what seems to be some kind of a fruit that maybe looks like a pear or like a deformed apple. Can't really tell.
Okay. I shapeshift back into my demon form and stealthily try to open the door with the pear etched onto it.
Can't do it. Completely locked. All right. While you're trying that door, we're gonna fly on back down to the hallway. So it is the hallway. The vampire has been thrown off of Marcy. Marcy, you are laying there. You probably saw many apples of your life flash before your eyes. At this point, what would you like to do? There's still a couple of apples there that you can try to throw. You still have a little bit of your pie left for later for healing, but it's up to you what you'd like to do next. I'm not getting any audio from Meredith. Is anybody else? No? Okay.
Well, in this moment of distress, I decide to eat the rest of the pie in hopes that it will give me energy through the rest of this, to get me through the rest of this adventure and hopefully alive and out of this house. But I am a little bit concerned for Irie right now.
Okay, fair enough. I guess we just have a huge delay on that. Fair enough. Okay. So, Irie, what do you do?
Am I still scuffling with the vampire? Where am I situated right now in this chaos?
You just pulled the vampire. You kind of knocked the vampire off of Marcy, and you're there. You do know that. In terms of your weapons, you know that while your dagger is not silver coated, that there is definitely some silver on the throwing knives that you have. Which you don't have to throw, by the way, which is a common misconception. I don't know why people always throw throwing knives. You could use it in melee as well. So it is nudge, nudge, wink, wink. It is your choice, whatever you would like to do next.
All right. Well, we're going to have to switch gears because my dagger is not going to do anything. And while close combat is not my form of preference because I do not have a lot of strength, or I'm a very squishy type of character when it comes to close combat, but I quickly switch and pull out one of my throwing knives that does have the silver tip, and I hold it up to the vampire's throat to hold him still and to make sure that Marcy is okay.
Marcy's seemingly okay. The vampire is just hissing at you, and the vampire is going to attempt to actually kind of slash up with her hand, slash at your face. So we'll see whether or not she's able to make contact. With a 7, I'm going to say that barely misses. and you're just ever so slightly able to get out of it. The nails definitely tickle your whiskers as you're able to pull back. We'll go to and now what you're hearing behind you is we're going to go to the werewolf. Seeing that basically combat has started, the werewolf is going to come running at you because you're endangering one of its friends, and it's going to come and try to tackle you off of the vampire. So we'll see how successful he is. With a 9, absolutely able to tackle you completely off of the vampire. And the way that he really does it, he just kind of runs up and just knocks you off pretty easily. You're talking about a werewolf versus, a large cat, but still a relatively light creature. He knocks you off, and with all the tumbles and everything, it's a good bit of damage. You suffer a little bit of damage. It hurts. It smarts for sure. There's definitely going to be some bruising as you are knocked off. Not sure when Meredith is going to be able to rejoin us, but in the meantime, I will play for Marcy as well. Marcy, in this case, is going to jump up and run and duck and pass through past the werewolf and the vampire and run over to the ghost, since he seems to be the only one she can really reason with. As she's running up to him. The ghost is just basically looking at her. We'll pause there before he speaks. Let's go up to Draconix. You're up. You tried the door. Nothing. Didn't budge. Not working.
Okay. I tried the other door then with the cat scratches on it to see if I can open that one.
You cannot open that one either. Does not seem to work. Would you like to try to make your way to the other stairwell? This seems to be the only part here is just those 2 doors.
Okay. Yeah, I walk towards the other stairwell just to investigate further as they continue to fight down below.
Okay. To make it a little more expedient, I'm going to go ahead and say you use wonderful shadow magic and you do basically a shadow dash across all of it, because you're not just kind of going, oh, my friends are getting killed. I'm just going to walk past all of that, look at some doors. We'll make it a little faster. You kind of do a little magic-y thing to go to the other side. And on the other side, you just see a door that is entirely black. It is just a purely pitch black door. And at that moment, we're going to switch right on back to Marcy. Marcy, you have gotten up, ran past the werewolf. You're now standing in front of the ghost who's staring down at you, seemingly the only non-violent of the 3. What would you like to do?
Can you hear me okay? Because I just want to make sure you can hear me.
You're great now, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm very intimidated by it's the ghost. With the ring?
It's the ghost, yes.
Well, I just do what I know what to do when it comes to ghosts. I just ran right through that thing.
All right. As you run through it, something he didn't quite expect, because most people don't. They're a bit terrified of ghosts. As you run through, you're kind of flailing at this point because you're just going, I'm out of apples. There's a ghost, there's a werewolf, there's a vampire. What is happening? You fling your hand and you actually hit the ring that is on his finger. And as you look around and when you hear the clanking of the ring as it fell to the floor, the ghost is gone.
So I pick up the ring naturally, and I'm shocked at that the ghost is just gone, but has left this ring because it seems significant somehow. And I put it in my pocket, and I don't tell the other 2 about it.
Okay, let me tell you a little bit about this ring.
Please.
So you have found, because it was the ghost, you find a black ring with an obsidian stone in it. While you are not privy to a lot of magic, you can feel, even without putting it on, a strong magical essence within this ring.
Yeah.
Even as you put it into the pocket. Yeah. With that, let us flip on back to Irie. What would you like to do? You just saw that the ghost vanished. You have a, a vampire and a werewolf staring at you. And as a reminder, each one of them is also wearing a ring.
Ooh. And are they're about to get me, aren't they? They're trying to attack me right now, right?
It seems that you are definitely their focus. Yes, their attention is on you at this very moment. Because you seem to be a threat.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm going to want to create some distance because while I can handle close combat with maybe one of them, I can't handle two. And I prefer to keep a distance. So I'm going to try to get away and use my speed, agility, and stealth to see if I can find some place where I can slip away and remove myself from danger first before I can figure out what my next steps are.
Yeah, absolutely doable. You make your way back into that kind of the opening foyer of it all by the door that you came in. That just takes up your movement. You're still welcome to have some sort of an action or do something else. You can try to put something together, throw something at them. Yeah, it's sort of up to you. You're not sure how vampires and werewolves react to poison since all of your weapons are poison tipped. But since you mentioned that, but it's up to you what it is that you want to do.
Okay, I'm gonna try to throw something at them in self-defense. So, knowing that both of all of my throwing knives have their silver tips, I don't know if the poison has effect on these enemies, but I'm going to throw a few of my knives very quickly at each of them and see what happens.
Okay, I'm gonna say that the way, because like you're running back, you're already doing all this, you have enough time to with two hands go ahead and throw, and you're going to throw one at each one of them. I will pull two cards, and we will see which one hits. The first one is going to be for the vampire, and the other one is going to be for the werewolf. Oh no. So for the vampire, you got a 4, and for the werewolf, you got a 2. It's just so unlucky.
This is not my day. All right.
You're just so shocked and you're scared of it because you were in such close quarters, a little bit claustrophobic in that hallway with so many large hulking, like the werewolf and everything else, that you throw it and they completely they go completely wide and just kind of get stuck in either side of the hallway. Yeah. And now they're staring at you, and the two of them are gonna go run at you. So it's going to be vampire first, is going to come run up and try to basically go for your throat again. Before she swiped you, but now she's going to try to grab you and go for your throat. She grabs you with a 10.
Oh my gosh! Guys are going to die!
At this point, she grabs. She has not yet bitten. She's just able to grab you. The werewolf, seeing this, is going to turn around to face Marcy, and at this point realize that the ghost is gone, which you see, Marcy, you see on his face there's a little bewilderment, and he's a little bit almost afraid, which is kind of strange for you to think. And he's going to rush at you, and he's going to try to slash you with his claws. With an 8, you are a tiny, nimble creature. He misses. By the way, 9 and above was a hit. Same thing for you, by the way, Irie. It was 9 and above something was going to happen. So ever so barely, you're able to duck under the swipe of the claw. And we're going to take a brief little pause in this craziness of combat and go to our friend Draconix, who's just checking out doors upstairs, because, why not? You're standing in front of this black door that is right in front of you. What would you like to do? By the way, you're hearing the entirety of the combat downstairs. You put your hand on the door. It feels warm. It feels warm and like there's a give. And here's the interesting thing that you notice about this door and all of the others. There are no actual doorknobs. But as you put your hand on this feels warm and like it has a little bit of give. Like if you really put just a little bit of effort into pushing it open, it would probably push right open.
I push the door.
You push open the door.
Push it as hard as I can. Mhm.
Good. The door swings open, and in front of you is a dark room. A little further, it seems like there's a trick of the light or something strange, as if this room is nearly pitch black and appears so much bigger than what it would seem like this house could actually handle. And way further, as you're seeing, there is a figure. There is a hooded figure in green, in just a kind of almost a spotlight, where it seems to be sitting on the ground, way further ahead. No reaction, nothing at this point. It is your choice whether or not you'd like to enter the room or not.
I stealthily enter the room and walk towards the figure.
Okay.
As stealthy as I can.
As soon as you step
stealthily,
in,
yeah.
you feel the door behind you close. Right? And that light go away. And in that kind of scary movie moment thing of where they cut up to where it's not the gentle rise of the figure, it's almost like a skip of like all of a sudden the figure comes up into standing, and then all of a sudden you come face to face with this figure. I'll show you the figure in a second, but what would you like to do?
Do I recognize this figure? Have I seen it? Is it something that is tied to, I guess, my past or my history with the Shadow Realm?
We're going to go with definitely. This figure looks incredibly familiar to you. Let me pull it up. This is the figure looking at you. This is as close as I could get. Besides the fact that it's green, this looks like a nightmare that would look back at you anytime you might look in a mirror.
Okay. I guess I ask if I recognize this figure though.
You recognize it. It looks like you.
Okay, so
Except
if I
that
recognize this figure,
green,
then
yeah.
okay. So it's green. So it's like I recognize it, but it's slightly different.
Right, like it looks like you would look, except that if most everything about you was the opposite. So the colors where you would always wear
Right.
red are now seemingly green. The places where, well, you wouldn't smile, you're a demon prince. But it seems to be this counter side of you that you're interacting with.
Okay. I try to talk to the figure. I ask, who are you?
You are who, says the figure.
What are you doing here? What's your purpose?
There's silence as the figure raises its hand and points at you.
So raises his what? Sorry?
Hand. Raises hand up and points
Oh,
at
his
you.
hand. Are you here for me? Have you been waiting for me?
You see a smile creep across his face, and he starts taking. At this point, he was a few steps away from you. He starts taking, still hand outstretched completely towards you, starts taking a step and another step and another step towards you. He is about to touch you. What would you like to do?
I pull out my dagger and I take 2 steps back and tell it to stop and to answer my questions.
Okay. You take a step back, a second. Oh, you can't even take. You take a half step back as your back comes completely back to the door through which you just entered. The figure does not stop. It is still going straight at you, speeding up ever so slightly to try and touch you. And you can now see very much so that the figure's hand is not going for your face. It's not going for your shoulder. It is definitely going for where you anatomically would presume is a demon prince's heart.
And and the door won't open, right? The door is like shut, and there's no way out.
You wouldn't even know there was a door there. It feels like a wall at this point.
Because it was. I dash to my left side, trying to move along the wall and stay my distance away from the figure.
Fantastic. With a jack, you're absolutely able to do that. You get right out of the way, and the figure's hand collides with the wall. And as it collides with the wall, you see the door through which you opened in the other direction, back into that. And the figure walks out through the door into the rest of the house. The door remains open. At this point, we're going to jump back to Marcy. You just got swung on by the werewolf that you barely ducked away from. You have the ring that you can feel is something in your pocket. What would you like to do next?
I am feeling really called to put the ring on. I have to be honest. It's just been pulsating in my pocket.
All right. As you take the ring, you put it on. You look up at the werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that usually there's kind of a little bit amount of movement or leaning. There's no movement or leaning. All of a sudden, everything stops. Then you notice as he pulls back, his arm comes down and he almost does this backhanded slash. You think that you need a duck, but seemingly the arm goes right through you. He turns around, walks away from you in a strange way. Then you see 2 throwing knives come out from the wood and fly backwards, and you see Irie catches both of them. Then she does a weird tumble forward towards both the vampire and the werewolf, who have both been right there. And then all of a sudden the werewolf steps back. There's this weird flip thing where now Irie is on top of the vampire, and you're back exactly where you are. It seems that things resume, and all of a sudden, perhaps things have slightly reversed into where they are. You are now seeing what you previously saw a little while ago from a different perspective. Before, you were laying on the floor next to the vampire, but now you're seeing that Irie is sitting, clutching on top of the vampire, about to slash it, and there's a werewolf walking towards her, about to knock her off of the vampire. What would you like to do next?
Well, now that I know that I can go back in time a little bit and see things from a different perspective, I think I need to take the ring off and then put it back on again and just reverse things until I can figure out how to make a game plan to move forward and stop all of it from happening.
Okay, so you want to take the ring off and then put it back on again, right?
Yeah, because right now it's just keeping me in the present moment. So I got to take it off and put it back on again.
Okay, so you take the ring off, you put it back on, nothing happens.
Well, are the daggers still there?
No. It literally looks like everything that happened in the vicinity right near you was just teleported right back in time. The only things that are look different is the fact that the ghost is not there. But other than that, it literally looked like you got just teleported back in time, and got to keep your current location as opposed to where you were actually in time back then.
Well, is there a way that I can just throw an apple at the werewolf and prevent the werewolf from hurting my friend?
You can certainly try. Let's see you throw an apple. Sorry, it's a 3.
I have 1 apple left. 1. That was my card. What was it?
It was a 3.
Oh, man.
So what we'll say is, what you do is you throw the apple to try to hit the werewolf. You miss the werewolf, but because it hits the ceiling, all of a sudden the werewolf looks down and realizes you're not on the floor, where you just were a millisecond ago from what he thought. And the apple came from behind him, so he turns around and he looks at you. There's not going to be an action from him right now. Irie, what would you like to do? You're on top of this vampire. Yeah.
Do I have an opportunity to slay the vampire and take it down to just the werewolf?
Absolutely.
I'm going
Would
to
you like
make
do
an
so?
attempt to slay the vampire. Yes,
Okay.
please. Let's see if I'm luckier this time.
10.
Yay!
Just like what the vampire had on you. Okay, with that 10, you're able to. Do you want to describe how you want to slay the vampire?
I'm going to slit its throat. It was going for mine. I'm going for yours.
All right. Fair enough. You go right in.
Vengeance
You
will
do
be
that.
mine.
What's really interesting is that when you slit its throat, you expect there to be blood. You expect there to be something gruesome, but that's not at all what happens. You find something completely different. As you do that, what escapes from the vampire is this kind of white smoke that comes out, and you're not quite sure what to make of it as you watch the vampire disintegrate further and further and further as this white smoke seemingly takes all of it away and evaporates, and you hear a little ding as a ring falls to the ground. As you look at the ring, this is what you see. You see a ring with a large white pearl that sits in it, and it is being surrounded with this swirling white smoke. What would you like to do?
I want to put it on. Did I witness what Marcy witnessed, or was that just something that Marcy experienced when she put on the ring?
Yeah, from your perspective, Marcy was next to you on the ground, and in a millisecond, gone. You have no idea what happened, but it kind of in the heat of combat, you're going, I don't really care. I'm just trying to figure this out.
Okay. I want to put on this ring. I'm curious about what magical properties it has.
Okay. You put on this ring, and we're going to come right back to you and see what you experience with the ring. We're going to next go to our friend in the dark room who just had a green copy of him walk outside. Draconix, you're in the room. You just watched almost a mirror image of you, except green, walk out. What would you like to do?
The door's still open at this point in time, right?
The door remains open, and you don't even see like there is a door. There's this opening for a door that you could just walk through. The rest of this room is completely pitch black. You can't even tell that it's even really a room.
Okay. Seeing that it is merely impossible to navigate this dark room, I slowly edge back towards the door to see where the green copy of me is doing. So
he's getting on. Yeah, he's getting on the kind of the railing of the stairwell. As at this point, as you're watching out, he's getting on top of the railing of that second floor, looking down into the area below where you know your friends and everybody is. That's what you're seeing.
Okay, so he's no longer interested in me anymore at this point in time.
You don't know if he necessarily was. It seems that as soon as he pushed open the door, he was ready to go after it and out.
Okay. Is the door does the door seem to stay open, or is it
it seems completely open. It's not closing. It seems to be completely open. Yeah. You have no indication that it's going to close anytime soon. It doesn't seem like it's creaking in or anything. Yeah.
Okay. Seeing it's no longer disinterested, now peeking through the door of the black room, I decide to venture back into the room to further explore the room to see what else I can find. I guess I start along the edge of the room and go down to
Yeah.
to further
The
explore.
room, honestly, is like just a void of darkness, feeling like almost an endless void of pure black darkness. That's saying something, especially since you're looking through it from the shadow realm. It doesn't even seem to obey the laws of physics of a normal room. It is just pure black. It seems that the only purpose of this room that you can ascertain was to keep this creature, whatever was inside.
Oh, okay. So see that there isn't much I can do with this room. I walk back, or I creep back towards the door, towards the hallway, and at this point in time, is the creature still staring over the staircase?
Yeah, the railing. So as you make that swoop as you're back, the creature has been observing this entire time, and we're gonna come back to Marcy. So Marcy, you are standing there. You're still you took the ring off. You put it back on. You're kind of going. This makes no sense. It just worked. What is happening? The werewolf is now turning around and looking at you. The werewolf starts walking towards you to make an attack. Even though you missed it with the apple, it becomes frustrated. It thinks you are an easy target. As it is approaching you, we're gonna pull a card and see. Oh no. Well, at least it didn't happen to any of you. As it is approaching you to seemingly make a strike, I pulled a 2. You hear the creak of a railing above you, and you see a green figure as it topples down, and it looked like it maybe tried to make some kind of a strike or something, but it did very much like a belly flop, like flailing, not able to grab anything, and falls right on top of the werewolf. That's what you get with a 2. It's the lowest you could do. It's like the worst thing that can possibly happen. So you're standing there. You just feel like you went backwards in time, however many seconds. You try to put the ring on and off again. A werewolf is coming towards you, and a green figure falls down and topples on top of the werewolf. And there's a werewolf and a green figure that looks kind of similar to the red guy you just met, but you don't really know because you were looking at the dress. There's a lot going on, Marcy.
Yeah.
What would you like to do next?
Well, should I be worried about the green guy?
You don't know who the green guy is. He looks familiar, but you know the other guy probably didn't do a word. You know the other guy changed shapes into a cat, but you didn't see him change colors.
I think that this is a moment to just seize the day and take advantage of the opportunity. I mean, I was just about to get mauled by a werewolf, and then this green thing falls out of the air and collapses on top of it, like belly flops it. I think I just need to make a run for it. I mean, that's what I do best.
That's fair. So in front of you, at this point, running forward into the hallway and out the front door is not really an option because that's right where those 2 are. The only way you can make a run for it is you can run up the stairs behind you.
When I don't really know where that leads to, do I?
You don't at this point. You know that Draconix went up there. You don't know what happened to him. Maybe the green thing killed him or something. You have no idea what happened up there.
And the green thing just fell from that space, right?
Yeah. It fell from one side. You could run to the other side. So yeah.
And is there a window that I could just jump out of?
It's very high up there. It's one of those where the windows are way above the stairs. Yeah.
I think what I need to do is go up those stairs. I mean, I really don't have any other choice because what happens if the werewolf breaks free?
Fair. All right. You run up the stairs. You go to the other side because you don't want to go to where the green thing fell from. And as you come up, you glance over to the other side. You see an open, dark door. You go, that's kind of weird. And you look at 2 doors in front of you. There's one that has cat scratches all over it. And there is another one that has a weird kind of moldy, strange apple. You're a connoisseur of apples. You know, that doesn't look like a really good apple. That looks like a bad apple. That doesn't fall far from the tree.
I think I'm going to go through the cat scratch door.
You try to push it. Nothing happens.
Okay, so then I'm gonna go into the other door because I want to hide from the werewolf.
All
So,
right.
the moldy one.
The moldy one. All right. You push that door. The door swings open, and given that you're a lover, it's definitely apple wood. That's what the door is made of. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
It opens. It feels maybe a little bit inviting, but unsure. And we'll get to right back to what you see inside as we jump to Irie as she puts on the white ring. So you're putting on this white ring. And for a moment, everything freezes. You're looking around, and all of a sudden, you see kind of wisps. You see these two, the werewolf and this green figure in front of you, and you see 5 kind of wispy white smoke versions of this green figure get up. One of them starts getting into combat with another kind of white version of the werewolf. Another one of them runs down the hallway past you, and as you're seeing, it grabs a smoke figure of you. You see another one run up the stairs, another one run into a doorway. You're noticing that you're seeing a bunch of different versions of these things that are happening around you, and even a few versions of you as they're coming from you and starting to interact in a variety of ways. Is there anything you would like to focus on or do next?
Oh, I want to take a look at what my character, the ghost version of my character, is doing and follow them and see where it leads me.
Okay. So you, at this point, you see 3 versions of you. There's one version that's being chased down and grabbed by the smoke version of the green figure. There's one that is running up to stab the werewolf. And there's another one that is leaping over the werewolf to run up the stairs. Which one would you like to follow?
I'd like to go up the stairs. I think I've had enough combat for the day. I'm not built for this. I'm going to go up the stairs and explore what I haven't seen yet in this mansion.
Okay. You run up the stairs after the smoke figure. You see the smoke figure going up as it goes to the left-hand side. It runs up and then vanishes. And as you look back, you notice that all of the others also vanished. And then a second goes by and you see everything restart. Again, 5 figures of the green figure come up. That you see 3 versions of you running in those things. And then you just keep on seeing this sort of loop of just several seconds of all of these things that are sort of happening.
Interesting. Okay, and so I'm at the top of the stairs now. Am I facing what's at the top of the stairs? Would that be the doors?
You don't know. You actually, you try to look and it just looks blurry and it doesn't make sense to you and you don't understand it.
Okay. It sounds really confusing. I'm going to take off the ring because it's messing with my head and I don't really know what's going on. So then I can see clearly and figure out where I am in the mansion.
Great. As soon as you take off the ring, you find yourself exactly where you were before you went up the stairs. Like your physical body, it feels, has not actually moved that entire time. You now realize that you're exactly where you were. And what would you like to do next? You see the 2 figures are there, and one of them is starting, the green figure is starting to move and get up.
Okay, I'm running up the stairs. I'm not staying there.
Okay.
I don't want any more fighting. I'm gonna run up the stairs and see where they lead me.
Great. You run up the stairs, and at that point, we're gonna switch over to. I love the way you guys split it up into 3 different things that I have to do instead of just all sticking together. But it is as it is. You're running up the stairs, Draconix. You just saw the green figure. You kind of looked at it and you're like, is that really what I look like from behind? And then you saw it do like the belly flop, like terrible thing. And you're like, I'm so much more graceful than that. I'm so much more regal than whatever this is portrayal of me is. This is horrible. But yes, you just saw it leap off of the railing and fall down. What would you like to do next?
I go towards the top of the staircase because there's only the one door at the end of that hallway, that black that leads to.
That's it. Yeah, that was the only door.
Room of darkness. Yeah. So since there's no other way to go, and that room didn't seem like it was gonna get me closer to the artifact or any answers to its whereabouts, I decide to again slowly go back to the top of the staircase and just to recon and see what's happening below after seeing the green guy belly flop all the way down to
Okay.
the first floor.
So you walk up to that kind of that landing. You look down. You are seeing that the green guy's getting up. It seems that he had fallen on top of the werewolf. You are watching as you kind of see across the way that you're seeing Marcy opening up the apple door that you tried before, and then you are seeing Irie is going up the stairs at this point.
Okay. And
Well, anything you want to do next?
are all the other monsters like they're still fight, like the werewolf, the green guy, they're all down there? Are they fighting?
They're
each other at
down
this
there. The green
point in
guy's
time,
seemingly
or-
getting up. Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen next though.
Okay. And in order for me to get to the other hall, like the other staircase again, I would have to pass through them.
You wouldn't have to pass
would have
through
to go
them. You'd
down,
have to go
meet them
past Irie. Just Irie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Because they're down on the ground. Irie is up the first set of stairs, and then she's gonna go to either the left or the right set of stairs. So you could go to the other side with
Okay.
just
Yeah, I'll go to the other side then, knowing that,
okay.
like, because I have knowledge of Marcy opening the apple door that I could not open before.
Right. Yes, you did see that. So at this point, I'll kind of reunite the two of you. So Irie, as you're kind of coming up the stairs, Draconix is kind of coming down. You reunite, and you're like, oh, we got to go this way. Okay, and you go up. As you come on up, you see Marcy as she's staring into the door that she had just opened. Marcy, what you are seeing in there is again a fantastical sight. It seems like a darkened version of an orchard. As if an orchard that is possibly in the swamp, which is very strange for you because you know apples don't grow in the swamp. That's not a good place for apples. And yet it seems to be an apple orchard in the swamp. And you're hearing kind of a distant that is coming from that. What would you like to do?
Well, I'm a little confused and I'm a little bit scared because I get really easily scared in these situations. But I feel like I need to walk towards that whimper.
Okay. You step inside. You're walking towards the whimper, and what you find is that in a cluster of trees, there is standing a little boy, and he's holding a rotten apple. I'll actually show you exactly what it looks like. He's standing there. He's completely in dark, and he's holding an apple. With your apple aficionado skills, you know this is a rotten apple. That's not edible for people usually. You should not consume those kinds of apples. He's kind of sniffling and looking down at the apple. He has not yet noticed you. What would you like to do next?
Oh, well, I'm really sad that I used my last good apple on trying to hit that werewolf. So that runs through my mind first. Next, I think what I would love to do is just quietly whisper so that the boy knows that I'm there so I don't startle him. And then nicely ask him for the apple. And that if he eats it, it might poison him. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah?
So what are you saying to the boy?
I'm saying, "Shh, psst, psst, over here."
Hello? Who's there?
It's Marcy Wade. You don't know me, but I think if you take a bite out of that apple, you're going to make a huge mistake.
But I'm hungry. I don't have any other apples. This is the only apple I look at all the other, and you look up and you see that these apple trees are just littered with apples that are big and seemingly full, but all have this rotten feel to them.
Well, this is what I think will happen is that if you just put that apple down and you come with me, we will get out of this house together. And I have a couple friends who are amazing and they will help us as well. And we can find you a fresh apple. What do you think?
But what are rotten apples good for? Shouldn't we use it for something?
I think we should. I think that's a wise idea coming from such a little person. So why don't we collect all of the apples from the trees, as many as we can, and we'll collect them in our clothes. We'll just hold them like this, like a basket in our clothes, and we'll take them with us. And if anyone gets in our way, we'll hit them with the apples.
So we're just gonna throw them at people? Is that all rotten apples are good for? Is hurting people?
Well, I think that it's good for hurting people, and I think that we can trick people into eating them. Those people who are not very kind, that is.
Oh, okay. You see the little boy walk over to a tree and take his little hand and just knock the tree, and all of a sudden, as he knocks that one tree, all of the apples in the orchard from all of these trees, all of them fall down. I will say that the vast majority of them splatter because they're rotten apples and they don't survive that. But yeah, you can definitely collect probably a good 20, 30 apples if you would like that are rotten that are still very throwable.
Okay, well, I think we're going to do what we can with what we have. Yes?
Okay. You collect up the apples and you walk out of the room. All right, back to Irie and Draconix. You watched Marcy walk in with no apples and come out with questionable fruit and a little emo boy, which is okay. Not sure what that's all about. And then as you look back, you notice that the green figure and that the werewolf, that they are grasping onto each other, and that they're holding, and that they are in battle. What would you like to do next?
Am I with Irie at this point in time? Because we reunited at the top of the stair.
Yes.
So I'll ask Irie. So how are you doing? I know we got separated. You seem to have escaped. How are you doing?
I barely escaped with my life, and I don't know what's happening. That figure down there looks a lot like you, and I don't know is that something that we need to be dealing with down there? Is he a friend? I've never met him before.
As you say this,
actually, he looks.
Yeah. As you look down as you say this, and all of a sudden, splat! Irie, your face is covered with a rotten apple. As you look back, it seems that the boy has thrown a rotten apple at you, and he is staring daggers at you.
Oh no! And is Marcy together with this boy at this point?
Yeah, he's standing right next to Marcy. It seems that he has thrown the one apple that he had at your face.
Ow! Okay, well, I'm not gonna go after a little boy, but I'm gonna talk to Marcy. Marcy, who is this? And did you just tell him to throw an apple at me? That smells terrible.
I told him to just throw it at bad people. I'm sorry.
As you look down at the boy who you've just heard, all of a sudden you hear his voice change as it becomes rougher, and he says, "She has my ring," and he leaps and runs at Irie.
No. So then what do I do? I'll pick up the rest of the apples and throw them at him?
You can certainly try. Are you trying to kind of like knock him off balance so he doesn't get hurt? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes, I'm good. Well, but I still have my ring. What would happen if I put it on?
If you put your ring on, to try to put your ring on?
Yeah.
Okay. So you put your ring back on again. All of a sudden, you see the boy take a couple steps back. You look at Irie. You see all of the collection of the smatterings of the apple coalesce into an apple, fly its way all the way across back into the hand of the little boy. You see the little boy take a few steps back as he walks back into the room. And as you turn around and look, you are now on the outside of the room, and you snap back into the moment, and you see the boy knock the tree, and all of the apples fall down.
But I know what's going to happen, right?
I don't know.
Well, I think I know what's going to happen. And so I don't let him out of the room. I run to the door and I shut it behind me. And then I leave him in there with all of those rotten apples.
You grab the door. You're trying to pull it shut. Won't budge.
Well, I start to collect all of the applesauce that has collected on the floor, and I shove it up against the door as much as I can, and I wedge it between the gap in the door, and I slip through just in an amount of time, and then I gather the last remaining pieces of it, and I make a big pile of applesauce.
All right, we'll pull a card to see if you're successful with that, because that's an undertaking of making a pile of rotten applesauce. With a queen, you are successful. While you were not able to close the door completely, you were able to barricade it with an enormous pile of rotten applesauce. That smells so not great. Now, in your respect, Draconix and Irie, you have no idea what happened. You you came up the stairs. You watched Marcy go in, come out, and barricade a door in stinky applesauce. You are very confused.
Oh, and now I guess we're reunited at this point.
You're hearing some sort of a battle still going on downstairs of something. You're not quite sure what it is. There's some rumblings between the werewolf and the other figure.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess now that we're all together, let's regroup and figure out what's happening. Do we need to deal with or figure out what's happening with the battle between that green mysterious figure and the werewolf?
I feel like eventually we have to, because we're going to have to get out of this space, but there is one more door that is unopened. So should we actually look into that first? Maybe I'll have some answers for us in trying to figure out how to defeat this green version of me that I have no idea how to defeat right now.
And where's the third ring?
What do you mean when you say the third ring?
I think the werewolf still has it.
Oh, the werewolf still has it?
Yeah, the werewolf still has it, yeah. So maybe we would need it, but at the same time, I guess we just need to decide if we should be fighting the green guy and the werewolf while they're distracted with each other, or should we wait till one destroys the other before we engage, so that we only need to kill one more monster, not two. What do you think?
I don't know. That's true.
Well, they seem to be occupied right now. Do we want to try to go through this door to see if it has any of the answers for us?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
All right.
Who's
We're going to
opening the
try
door?
for the door. I'll do it. It looks like it's marked for me, so I'm going to make an effort on that door.
Okay. And to be fair, the other two have already tried to open that door and they were unsuccessful. As you push on the door ever so slightly, nothing happens. You try to push a little more and you're like, nothing is happening. And then you kind of begrudgingly look off to the side, pull out your claws, and do that thing that cats do where they kind of claw at the door a little bit. And the door seems to just melt away as you do that. Inside, what you are seeing is kind of a relatively cozy room. It seems to have plenty of pillows, plenty of blankets, of soft spaces, a rather large scratching post. And you can't tell if it's a scratching post or perhaps maybe even like a martial art stand for some sort. And you're seeing a figure that is kind of sitting down and feeding a tiny creature. You can't tell what it is. As it turns around, you notice that it is feeding a little kitten, a little Khajiit kitten that it's holding. And as the figure looks up at you, it is again shrouded entirely in green, which is this counteract to your pink. It's this high neon of green that seems almost unnatural as it stares at you. And as it holds this kitten, it stares right at you. It looks like this. And you recognize that this creature looks very similar to your mother.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Because my mother passed when I was very young, I never had the opportunity to talk to her. And growing up as an orphan, I've always wanted to have a conversation with my parents. And even though I'm on edge, I don't know if it's safe or not to approach, I decide to approach my shadow mother and engage her in conversation.
Okay. As you step in, what about the two of you? Marcy, Draconix, what are you two doing? Are you staying by the door? Are you peeking in? Are you stepping in?
I think we're stepping in personally, don't you?
Yeah.
Because we've been broken
Yeah,
up.
Okay. You see, as you're all stepping in, and Irie, you're kind of taking those first steps, especially going further and further in. You see this figure, this green Khajiit, put down this little tiny, slightly pink little kitten on a pillow, and she stares straight at Marcy. And pulling out a blade from her side, she lunges at Marcy. And seemingly, specifically lunging at her hand. What would you like to do? Any of you? Irie, you're a bit closer, but anybody.
I'm going to push Marcy out of the way so that she's out of line of fire, and I'm going to engage this my shadow mom in combat to defend my friend.
Okay. As you push Marcy to the side, the blade goes right through and past and just impacts into the wall and just gets stuck without even trying to pull it out. Your mother, basically your shadow mom, looks at you and just goes into your face and spins around, and you would know with that kind of a reaction of just she's basically staying you kind of saying mind your business in that kind of a way. It's not necessarily a different language, it's just the energy of like, how dare you approach my prey or get into this kind of into this is my territory almost reaction. And she turns towards Marcy. Marcy, what would you like to do? You just got shoved into, luckily, this is a room full of nice pillows. So you got shoved into a nice little long shaped pillow. So that was quite nice. What would you like to do? Maybe you made the pillow a little sticky from all the rotten applesauce that you had on your hands. What would you like to do next?
Well, I think I need to use the pillows as a weapon and try to suffocate that shadow mom.
Okay. You're going to grab a pillow and you're going to try to reach up to suffocate the shadow mom.
Yeah.
She's going to contest you by trying to grab your hands to stop you as a result. So the first card is going to be for you. The second card is going to be for her. Oh, finally some fun. So the first card is a 5. So you do a job. But the second card is a joker.
Oh.
Now, Unicorn Adventures, what a joker means, there's two types of cards that are not your usual 52. There are jokers and there's a unicorn card. And a joker card means that something crazy happens. It could be good, it could be bad, it could be neutral, it doesn't matter, but it is entirely my choice. If you happen to get the unicorn card, which is still somewhere in here, it would be your choice, whatever crazy thing happens. But in this case, you reach up to try to suffocate with the pillow. She grabs you by the wrists of trying to get your arms, and as she's kind of trying to wrestle you away, she goes up and grabs with one hand the ring that you had on your hands. And as she takes away the ring, she spins around to Irie and says, "I'll see you soon," and puts the ring on, vanishes. You feel a strange pull as all three of you are jettisoned out of the room, and the door shuts and becomes part of the wall as if it no longer existed.
Wow.
Oh no.
What would you like to do next? You're next to a sticky pile of applesauce, barring the door. You're still hearing that there's something going on downstairs, and it seems that the growling is intensifying. You have no idea who's winning the fight, if there is still even a fight, or what's going on.
I say we have to figure out how to get the heck out of here.
Yeah, I guess we will have to decide how to figure out to engage in the two monsters downstairs. It doesn't feel like I'm any closer to finding the artifact, so I think the answer might be in the third ring that's still in the werewolf, but which means that we're gonna have to somehow figure out and scheme a plan on engaging in that. No.
Yeah, you all rush downstairs to look at kind of peeking over, not necessarily running into all of it, to see what's happening. As you're watching it, especially you, Draconics, because you know the way that you fight, you know your fighting style and the way things usually end up being. As you're watching it, you can see the green figure is holding back from killing blows. He's by no means trying to kill the werewolf, but he's repeatedly trying to get something that's on his hand, as if trying to slice it off or anything. And the werewolf is engaged more so in restraining the green figure than doing anything else.
Okay. I guess we rushed. So we were downstairs at this point in time. We rushed downstairs.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, in positioning, like we're downstairs and this is happening like right in front of us.
Right. Yeah. And they seemingly are not. They're locked in combat. They are not paying any attention to you, it seems. Now that they can't see you, you're not important, basically.
Okay. I guess I rush, or I walk towards them fighting, or I kind of sneak around or try to be as stealthy as I can as they're engaging each other to see how close I can get to the werewolf's hand where the ring is on. I guess depending on their positioning on who's on top of who and where their limbs are, I try to then slice off the werewolf's finger with the dagger I have.
Okay. With a king, heck yeah, you slice it off. I mean, you get right in there. It's like perfect. Like you're knowing, because those moves from the green figure seem so familiar. You know exactly what he's doing. And as that finger gets lifted up, you jump in and you slice off the finger. You see the finger curl, fly up. You expect there to be blood. It's a werewolf. But instead of blood, almost this kind of crystalline light comes off of the entirety of it. And you see that almost the werewolf, the entire body gets covered in this shimmering light with some iridescent and rainbow aspects to it. Not like fun unicorn magical rainbows, but just as if the light is bouncing off of this variety of things. And then the entire body of the werewolf vanishes. And the ring falls to the ground. The green figure is actually going to try to grab the ring. It is your choice what you would like to do next.
I lunge towards the ring and try to put it onto my own finger.
All right, so we're going to pull 2 cards because both of you are now lunging at it. You and your shadow you is going to try to grab the ring. And let's see who succeeds. So because he was jumping first for it, he's going to have the first card. You will have the second card. Oh my goodness, how amazing. 9 for him and a 10 for you. So just barely, you win out and knock his hand out of the way and grab the ring as you fall down, and then you would like to put it on. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So to be clear, as you grab it and you put the ring on, as you're looking at it, the ring looks like this clear, iridescent, almost ring with something in the center, almost this whirling turmoil of something in the center. But other than that, a very clear ring stone as compared to the other 2 of the black and the white. And as you put it on, everything seems to calm. And interestingly enough, you feel yourself completely and utterly calm. And in your mind, you hear, which is so odd to hear, your own voice say to you, "What is your dilemma?"
What is my dilemma is figuring out what freedom means to me. Am I supposed to answer the question in that moment?
If you'd like to, what does freedom mean to you?
Being able to pick your own path without judgment or repercussion.
You hear, again, very odd to hear yourself in your head go, and all of a sudden you get a vivid vision of where you are right now, and that the path that you are currently on feels wrong, feels cloudy, feels that it is not leading to what you feel that it should be leading towards. You can't see what the future is, but in this very moment, you know that you're probably not on the path. And the only thing that you can see that seems somewhat clear is this outline of a green figure with some sort of a ring on its finger. And in that moment, you spring right back to where you are, and you see a very familiar green figure in front of you. It happens to be where you are right now. He's not grasping at your hand at this point, but as you're looking at him and his face that you can actually now see, before it was kind of hidden by the hood, it seems to be a little bit more decayed. It seems to be like almost like not an undead version of you, but a dying version of you that is grasping for something, for clarity, for some side of it, maybe a darkness in you that just wants to understand its purpose, whatever it might be. And it seems to be having this kind of, it's pleading with its eyes as it glances between you and the ring that you have on your finger. At this very moment, Marcy, you hear a That's it. You just hear that from upstairs.
Did the little boy get out from the apple barricade?
You can't see from where you are. You're more downstairs. You'd have to run upstairs. You are the only one that saw it, Irie, just because Draconix is a friend. You were kind of a little bit more invested in that exact moment, and you were a little bit closer to the engagement. You did not hear anything. But Marcy, would you like to do anything at this point?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I want to stay with my friends here. And if I leave, then there's that's just going to jeopardize all of us getting the job done, and it could cause a whole lot of problems. But I'm aware of it, so there's that. What do you
All right.
what do you think?
Well, at this point, we're going to go right back to Draconix. So you see that version of you looking at you. What would you like to do?
Totally forgot to mute that. Sorry. So against uh, against all logic or reasoning and just trying to follow my gut and intuition in this very moment, I put the ring on the green guy.
Okay, so you hand
After seeing
over
what I saw, just to see what. Yeah.
So you hand
What
him
am I
the ring.
doing?
I know, right? You hand him
Yes.
the ring. As he puts
Yeah.
on the ring, he looks at you and stands in the exact same shape and position that you are standing, and walks right at you. You kind of have this little first what are you doing, dude? Like you're invading my personal space. Demon Prince's personal space. But he doesn't make contact into you. He walks into you. And all of a sudden you have a very, very immediate feeling of purpose, of identity. And you kind of have a feeling of this compass of where you could ask this other voice that is in your head questions about your present self, if you are at this moment on the path that you would want to be on in that way. And you hear once again, as if examining a new living quarters or a new path, your own voice in your head going, All right. Irie, what do you want to do? You just saw some craziness. Your friend just chopped off a werewolf's finger, put on a ring, then took off the ring, gave it to a green guy who walked into your friend and vanished. Odd. Strange stuff. What would you like to do?
I feel like our main objective was to get the hell out of this mansion, and but before we do that, I'm gonna talk to Draconix and make sure that he's okay, because I don't know if my friend just got possessed, and that might be a danger and a concern to us. So I'm gonna check in with Draconix first to see if he's okay and in his right mind before we decide as a group what we want to be doing and if we're gonna get out of this mansion.
Draconix, at this point, you feel that you're not just okay. You're better than you've ever been. You feel that perhaps the artifact that you were seeking wasn't necessarily a piece that you had to remove, but it's something that you could always have with you in this way. It was that sense, that compass that you were seeking for the Shadow Realm. In that, so you feel fantastic. Whether or not that's what you say to her, that's entirely up to you.
Yeah. No, I feel amazing. I feel as clear as I've ever been, and I think what I was looking for, I found. Even though I'm still unpacking it all, but the feeling is, the clarity is amazing. It's the clearer I've been ever since leaving the Shadow Realm. So I'm ready to pack it up and go and call it an adventure. What about you, Marcy?
As you turn and say that to Marcy, you kind of turn and look at her. The three of you now hear as descending down the stairs is a little boy, emo boy, that is completely covered in rotten applesauce, as he is slopping his way down the steps towards you. He seems like he is staring at Ari and he's looking right at her. What do you guys want to do?
Well, I think we make eye contact with each other. I will hold back just a little bit. You both start running towards the door. I will punch him, and then I'll start running towards the door, And then you have that door open for me so I can get the hell out of there. And then we just slam it shut and we keep them in there. And then run down the street. Anybody else have a better plan?
Definitely get Irie out of there because the boy's staring her down, but
that's why
maybe we should get rid of the boy too. Maybe I want to fight the boy.
It's your choice.
What do you think, Irie? As he's walking towards us, we need to make this quick.
Marcy is the closest, so in any case, I think Marcy's going to be punching the kid, whatever else you guys decide to do. But it's all up to you. We'll go since Marcy's the closest. Marcy, what would you like to do in that very moment?
I'm gonna punch him, and I'll tell you why. Because we're about the same height, so I'm just gonna make some eye contact. I'm gonna punch him, and I'm gonna run.
All right, with an 8, you land that punch. On this little kid who's already sniffling, covered in rotten applesauce. He kind of like knocks back on the stairs, and you just bolt. You just run. Draconix, you and Irie, you see Marcy punch a little kid and run down the hallway towards the exit. What would the two of you like to do next?
Get Irie to I run with Irie towards the door. She goes out first, and we're opening the door, and I'm holding the door open as I guess Marcy's running towards us. And yeah.
All right. So all of you are running. You get your way through the door. You run outside into, and it is now a much darker, wintry time outside. It's been several hours that you've been inside of this manor. You run out, and in front of you, standing there, out front, is a green figure of a Khajiit. No longer nearly as neon green, with a loving look in her eyes. The three of you walk down, and immediately she comes up to Ari, and you know this is not Shadow Mom. This is Mom. It's the immediate feeling of knowing exactly this person and connecting to them. And you immediately start doing the thing that cats do, where they rub on each other, and you're rubbing and that. As Marcy, you and Draconix turn back around, you see the manor looks like a lively manor, as if there's something going on, the way you saw it before, exactly as it was. In that moment, Marcy, you feel that you've delivered your pie, even though it was by throwing it and missing the werewolf, but effectively throwing it into a potential delivering person's face. That's fine. That's okay. That's a delivery. The method is questionable. So you feel fulfilled in what you have done in that regard. And Draconix, you have a definite feeling of purpose, of that you are now much more aligned exactly where you need to be in the present moment. And yeah, Irie, the other thing, of course, is that you still have that white ring on your finger. And with that, unless there's any kind of final things that you'd like to do, I think most of you are going to be going your separate ways. Is there anything else you'd like to do as we wrap it up?
Want to make sure that we all have each other's contact information.
We go share some drinks at the tavern before heading our separate ways, because these two are amazing people, because I pretty much ditched them, and they not once have they brought up why I left them to die. So that changes my whole worldview, and maybe instead of just thinking for myself, I've learned the power of actually loyalty and having good people around you. On top of the clarity. Because I was so surprised that when we all reconvened, they didn't bring a single thing about, like, why did you leave me? I thought that was going to come up. Beautiful.
So all of you head to the tavern. Irie, you were just talking your mother's ear off about all these things, and she's kind of doing the purring thing instead of just saying yes. She's like, yes, yeah. You're having those kind of interactions. You're talking about her friend and the amazing things that have happened. You're almost going back to like that little kid that's just so excited to tell their mom, like, and we did this, and there was this, and then she threw a pie at a werewolf. Have you ever seen a werewolf, Mom? Oh my goodness, you have no idea. And then a vampire. It was so scary. And then something happened. I don't remember. as all of this is going, you have an amazing evening, and the rest of the time in the tavern, as it all wraps up, you definitely exchange your information. And as the evening comes to a close is where we're gonna finish off and end this Christmas episode of Unicorn Adventures. So thank you all for playing. Thank you everybody else for listening. And we will end it right there. As a